Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Thursday, the 11th of February. Reading in Genesis chapter 44, Joseph's ruling Egypt. His brothers come to buy grain from him. The first time they come, they don't have Benjamin, Joseph's full brother, with them because he's his father's favorite and his father's protecting him. Benjamin has taken the place of Joseph, who his father thinks is dead. The second time they come, they have to bring Benjamin with them. And Joseph hatches a trap. As they're heading home, they get stopped and said, "Somebody's stolen my master's cup." They brought back to Joseph, and the cup is discovered in Benjamin's bag. And everybody's distraught and say, "Oh, how could this happen? We'll all be your slaves now." And Joseph says to them, "Far be it from me to do such a thing. Only the man who was found to have the cup will become my slave. The rest of you, go back to your father in peace." A real test for them, because all those years ago, they'd sold Joseph as a slave and gone back to their father. Now he's saying to them, just leave Benjamin as a slave and go back to your father. Would they do that? No, they would not. Continuing verse 18. Then Judah went up to him and said, "Pardon your servant, my lord. Let me speak a word to my lord. Do not be angry with your servant, though you are equal to Pharaoh himself." And he starts talking about his family and how important Benjamin is to his father. And he ends up in verse 33 saying, "Now then, please, let your servant remain here as my lord's slave in place of the boy, and let the boy return with his brothers. How can I go back to my father if the boy is not with me? No, do not let me see the misery that would bring on my father." And I was struck by that because Judah was the one who all those years ago had suggested selling Joseph as a slave. They'd thrown him in a pit, and Reuben had thought, "Oh, I'll come and rescue him." And it was Judah that saw the traders coming, say, "Let's sell him. That way we make money. We don't just get rid of him. We profit off it." What a different man. Here saying, rather let me be the slave. Let my father's favorite, treasured son, this person that is so important to my father, go home to him. And a couple of things struck me. The one is how we're never quite made. We are constantly shaped till the day we die. And so we never stop developing and growing and changing. And we need to constantly be praying, "Lord, make us more like Jesus," because that's the model that we shape our lives to. Flowing out of that, because we're constantly changing, we shouldn't let our past trap us and limit us. Yes, we've done things in the past that we're embarrassed about. We've done things which we regret. I think every one of us has done things which we would rather not to have done. But that doesn't define us now. Those things in the past, we can confess them to God. We can repent of them to the people that we offended. We can make restitution where possible. But in confessing, God forgives and we can move on. What we were doesn't define who we are, because we do grow. So that's the second point. And the third point is, if that's true for us, it's true for other people. And it's very tempting, particularly when people offend against us, to hold on to that. And we meet somebody and say, "Oh, this person is like that because that's how they treated me 25 years ago." And we need to remember, no, they were like that 25 years ago. They may well have changed. They may be like Judah. And yes, he was a slave seller 25 years ago. Now he's prepared to be a slave himself in order to free his brother. He's a changed man. Let other people change as well as we deal with them. So remember this, that we keep growing. We're not defined by our past. And we deal graciously with others so that we don't let their past define them in our eyes. We'll give them grace to grow as well. Know that, live it, and be blessed.